I got a surprise for you guys. It's an OEM book from the manufacturer for a parts catalog. Now, to get this out as smoothly as possible, I strongly recommend to take out the bell housing, the front of the transmission. I'm going to be a nice guy, and I just want to leave this part number here for a tool from the service manual of Toyota themselves. This is to basically pull the pump out so you can remove the bell housing and use this. However, if you don't have this tool or can't really afford one, just go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver to slowly pry it out and carefully do it. Then pull by the input shaft. And before you go ahead and decide to take this guy out. I say that because I struggled last night just to get it. And if you're wondering, oh, well, how do I take it off? How do I do this? How do I do that? You know, you're probably just going to want to, take out all the 12 millimeter bolts around here, and it should just pop out. But you're going to have to get a flat head and go on the edges and. So, this is out of the 300. This is when I removed the front pump right there. And this is what the inside gears look like. The planetary gears got a little... I just want to note that yes, it is dirty, but I am going to clean it before I put everything back together. Got a little ring right there, which is supposed to sit on here. So, I'm just gonna, like so. That's how it's supposed to look. So if it falls off, it falls off. It's supposed to chill like this. You can disassemble by pulling up. Just make sure that when this moves, the gears move as well. As you can see, it goes like that. Anyway, so I'm basically going to shove this in that. And if you're thinking that this is actually a part of that, it's actually not. It's just this. Now I'm going to leave these torque specs here. At the bottom left, you'll see how they're supposed to be torqued units. And, of course, what's supposed to be torqued to is on the diagram. You can pause right here and figure it out. Alright, so I'm going to be telling you the key differences between the GS300, 400, and 430 as far as the transmission goes. Yes, it's the same transmission, and yes, you have to take it apart a little bit in order to put parts from another transmission in there. So you really need to change out this shaft here. This is a 400 shaft. It's just a little bit too long for the bell housing. And on top of that, whichever transmission has the less amount of mileage for the clutches down in there. By the way, this is not how it's supposed to look. I didn't have it all the way inserted. And try also not to lose that. That goes on the back of this where you can see the little holes. That's different. So you're going to have to take the pump off. I recommend to undo all the bolts around here and then slowly pry to break loose the pump, and then you can just pull on this shaft that's directly connected to the pump and wiggle it out slowly. After that, I'd recommend to probably take off the bell housing. Also, the bell housings are different. The starter, this thing's upside down, so it's on the driver's side for the 300 where the starter is, and on the 400 it's on the top because it's in the valley of the motor because it's a V8. The axles are different. They're different sizes. Like this is a 400. It's a little bit longer. Plus, it's a 400 dampener when you got this stop sign shape right here of a damper. Which, by the way, you cannot exchange with the 300's axle. And on top of that, another thing you're going to have to do is swap out the output shaft here. You're going to have to swap this out. And it'd be also a really good time to get the seal here for the transmission when you do take that off. The pans are different. As you can see, I got the 400 pan on there, and it is just scraping against the bell housing. And not only that, but you cannot use even the dipsticks for the transmission. For the 400 and 430, it's going to be a braided cable. Versus on a 300, it's going to be a flat cable, or not even a cable, a flat wire, like as if it was a dipstick for the oil for the motor. So those are the key differences, and hope you guys learned a lot, because now I'm gonna have to change out the output shaft on the rear of that transmission with the one. I don't know if, whoop, my bad. You have to change the output shaft right there. I don't know the size of the millimeter of the nut yet, but we will find out. Alright, as promised, here's the size of the nut, and here is the torque spec for said nut. And on top of that, if this did work or helped you out at all, please leave a like, and if it did or did not work for you, please leave a comment. And on top of that, if you would like to see content about Alexis, please subscribe. Have a good one.